Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to share with you my weight loss journey and more specifically the Optavia 5-in-1 program. I have been on a weight loss journey for several years now. If you haven't watched one of my most recent videos where I talk about how my husband and I, we had a little bit of a struggle when it came to having kids, and I was pregnant 7 times and I had 3 miscarriages, but we had 4 children, so I'm a mom of 4. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it in the description of this video. So why did I decide to try to use the program with Optavia? Well, I'd heard about this program several years before I even decided to do it. I was contacted by one of the coaches through a group on social media. And at first, it seemed like an okay thing to do. But during that time, I was still a stay-at-home mom, and it was a little pricey. So I had known about this program for several years before I even decided to try it. Once I went back to work and I had a little bit more funds, then I decided to give it a chance. So I think it was probably a 3-year time span between when I first heard about it and when I decided to try the program. So what did I eat during the program and how did I lose this weight? Let me go ahead and get into exactly what I did to lose 98 pounds with Optavia. So before I get into exactly what I ate and did in order to lose weight, I will say that there were quite a few of these, which are called fuelings, that I did not like. Most notably, like the penne pasta. I love pasta in general, but that pasta was disgusting. I could not. I tried, and I did eat them, but it was really hard to choke down. It was not good at all. So, like the penne pasta, there's like a macaroni and cheese, those types of things, I did not do well with. I did not like them at all. So I did not use those on this program. So basically on the 5-in-1 program, what you do is eat 5 fuelings and 1 lean and green meal. I'm a very simple person. I don't like a lot of extra stuff. I'm the kind of person who will eat rice, potatoes, pasta. I'm not really into meat. I eat some veggies. I like fruit. And unfortunately on this program, fruit is one of those things that you are not supposed to eat at all. Never. So, I think when I started it was a little difficult, but I did find a groove and a routine of things. And I literally ate the same thing every single day for over a year. First, I will say that a lot of people in this program come up with hacks, and truthfully, if I had not used these hacks, I would not have been able to continue with this program. The food is not the best. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat it. No. So let me just share how I did this. So every morning I would have, and before I get into that, I try to make these fuelings by the description, on the package, and that didn't work for me. I don't think I prepared anything the way it was supposed to be. Well, that's not true. Let me show you. But I will say, these little trays that they give you, I didn't use them at all. Throw that out. Okay. Each morning I would have the roasted garlic mashed potatoes, but I didn't have them as mashed potatoes. I would grab this mini waffle maker is what people refer to as a dash. And just spray with a little bit of cooking spray because this will stick. You kind of make these according to the directions as if they were mashed potatoes. And the trick for me was to let them sit and get a little thick before I poured it into the dash. And one serving of this, which is 100 calories, makes 2 of these little waffles. They say that you should add fat to some of the meals because there's not a lot of fat in these fuelings. So I would get a wedge of Laughing Cow light cheese and spread it between the 2 little potato waffles, and that would be my breakfast every morning. So my next fueling would be the cinnamon roll cake. Now, this is 110 calories. For the cinnamon roll cake mix, I would use this. I had a little, open it up, mini muffin maker, and I would make 6 of these little muffins, and you would have to store these in the refrigerator because these fuelings will go bad if you just leave them out in room temperature because they don't have any preservatives in them, so they don't last very long. But yeah, I would make those muffins, and that would be my next fueling. So I have the potato waffle, then I have the little cinnamon muffin, and then I would have lunch. And for lunch, I would have this chicken noodle soup. Now, I will say, if you make this according to the directions, it's going to be crunchy. The only way to really make these and they be okay enough to eat, what I found is I would get this thermos, so like at least 3 hours before I'm having lunch. So this is every day. I would boil some water, put it in the thermos, mix it with this chicken noodle soup, and let it sit in this thermos and just like soak in and kind of like stew slowly. So this is something I was able to take to work. And sometimes I would actually like use like the coffee maker at work or the tea maker at work to get the boiling water so that I could put it into this thermos. And 3 hours before my lunch, I would make this. And then the noodles were actually tender and okay to eat. It's not a lot of noodles. And I would fill up this thermos, so I'm mostly drinking broth with a little bit of noodles. But that would be my lunch. So now, we've already had 3 fuelings. The potato waffles with the Laughing Cow cheese, the cinnamon muffin, and then the soup. So my next fueling, so I would have either the chocolate mint cookie crisp bar, and the crisp bars to me were much better. Like they have some that are like chewy. The texture is weird to me. The crisp bars are actually okay. I don't hate them. They were okay to eat. So I would either have like a chocolate mint cookie crisp bar. There was also a peanut butter crisp bar that I was okay with. Or I would have the peanut butter shake, which wasn't my favorite, or the vanilla shake, which I liked a little bit more, and use this Optavia shaker bottle, and that would be my 4th fueling for the day. So dinner is when I would use a scale to measure my lean and green, and I would either have burgers or shrimp or fish because I'm not really a meat person, but those things were okay for me. And then my green was usually either like collard greens, broccoli, or green beans. You can't have corn. It's basically like green. There are stipulations to what veggies you can have. So I would weigh those, and that would be my dinner. My last fueling for the day would be this hot chocolate. And my husband used to make it for me because it would clump up really bad. But also I would add collagen because before I started this program, I was reading in groups about people like losing hair and stuff. And so I took collagen with my last fueling, the hot chocolate, to reduce that from happening. So those were the things that I had, and basically each one of these fuelings is about 100, 110 calories. So with those 5 fuelings, you're only getting 500, 550 calories plus like 300 calories for your lean and green. So you might have anywhere from like 800 to 1,000 calories in what you would eat each day. And that's probably why the weight would melt off if you could stick to eating these fuelings and doing this program. Other than eating the 5 fuelings and the lean and green each day, I also exercise. Now, when I first started this program back in spring of 2023, they said not to exercise, just to focus on the fuelings. And I did that for like the first month, and it kind of worked, but then everything really slowed down and I wasn't really losing weight. So I started to do Walk Away the Pounds. Now, this is an old VHS of Leslie Sanson and Walk Away the Pounds. I think now it's just like called Walk at Home, and you can find these videos on YouTube. But I started doing those, started with the 1 pound. By the time I got into the 98 pounds, I was doing anywhere from 3 to 5 miles every day. And I think that the exercise that I was doing really attributed to me losing the amount of weight that I did lose. So that's what I ate, and that's what I did in order to lose the 98 pounds. So let me just go ahead and get into the pros and cons of this program. First, I'll start with the pros. One pro is having the coaches. I think it can be a little bit controversial because this program is a direct marketing program where basically the coaches are the ones who usually bring people in to start doing this program. But my coaches, they were great. They walked me through a lot of things in the very beginning. And then I just had that accountability. Every week I would step on the scale, and I used this app that connected to my scale and recorded all of my weight loss for me, and it had like all kinds of metrics that went along with it, and I would screenshot that weight loss each week to my coaches. And I think for me, in my mind, knowing that the coaches were going to be looking for that text to come in with what I'd lost for that week kind of kept me on track. The coaches will be one of the pros. I think the second pro, and the reason why this program worked a little bit more for me than others, is that it's really simple. Like once I got the hacks down of like how to eat the fuelings and how to make them so that they were okay enough for me to eat each day, then it was really simple. And I'm the kind of person, like I showed you, I eat the same thing each day. It gets real simple. Like I don't have to guess, what should I eat today? No. And what was even better is the support of my husband, who every single day made and weighed my lean and greens for me every day for over a year. Thank you, Theo. So that made it easier. So those are the 2 pros that I have for this program. Now to get into the cons. Unfortunately, the first con is going to be gas. I know, but this food, I guess whatever is in it, I don't know if it's the probiotics or what, but I was so gassy, horrible gas during this entire program. It was embarrassing. And truthfully, once I stopped eating the fuelings, my body felt so much better. So I've also, I think, read somewhere about people having gallbladder and gallstone problems because of these fuelings. And I mean, I'm not like a dietitian, nutritionist, or anything like that, so I'm not sure how they could be connected, but I know that I had really bad gas, and that was one of the cons for me. The second con is huge one is the price. Literally cost almost $400 to $500 a month if you're doing the 5-in-1 program and you need those 5 fuelings every day. Um, it's a lot. And so I did not do this program for a long time because I was a stay-at-home mom. I didn't have the money for it. And truthfully, once I started doing it, I didn't really have the money for it either because you're paying for those fuelings. And then, with a family of 6, we're buying all the other groceries for the rest of my family. It was a lot of money. And I did it for over a year. That's a lot of money. Just saying. So that was a con for me when it came to this program. A third con kind of encompasses a lot of things, but it's the dependence on these products. So yeah, you have to then use these products in order to lose this weight, which you can, if you stick to this program, you can lose a lot of weight kind of quickly, especially in the first couple of months. But it doesn't really help you learn how to eat outside of this program. Like, you're dependent on it. You're not really learning like how you should eat nutritionally and how to like do meals so that if you're not eating the fuelings or the lean and green, what else are you supposed to do? Like, how does that work for your life? And so therefore, this kind of also goes into it's not something that you can really do long term. And I think that if you're trying to lose weight and you're learning how to do something, you should be able to continue with it throughout your life. And I think they say that like, oh, you go into like a 4 and 2, and then you go into like a 3 and 3, but then you're still having to use these products. And truthfully, in the very beginning, I was starving. I was so hungry. But I think mentally, I kind of turned it into, well, I'm starving. That means my body's burning fat and the program's working. I don't know if that's really good logic, but I was really hungry. And then also, like, as I was losing weight, I was definitely losing muscle. Like, I used to have a lot more muscle on me when before I was losing weight. I lost a lot of muscle. I was tired. My coaches would be like, don't you just feel great because you lost this weight? And it's like, so I don't have this weight on me. That's good. But I wasn't feeling like energized and energetic. And even though I was like doing all this exercise, I was just tired all the time. That was a con for me. So bottom line is, would I recommend this program? No, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who think that this is like the best thing ever because it does work. But I think basically it works not because of what's in the fuelings, but because of how low of a calorie count you're getting in every single day. I mean, basically, I guess if you just eat 800 to 1,000 calories, which is what this program is, then of course you're going to lose weight because, you probably burn more calories during the day than you're taking in. So your body's going to burn more of that fat. But I don't necessarily think that this is like a really healthy program. And truthfully, this is like a 1-year update. I started this program in spring of 2023, and I was down 98 pounds by spring of 2024. This is July 2025, and I have gained all of the weight back. It's like I'm back to square one. I now have to try to figure out how to try to get healthy and lose weight again. I spent all that money. I did this program. It worked while I was on it, but again, because I didn't really learn how to eat healthy and do something that was like sustaining and long term, then I was like right back to where I was. And it's so frustrating because that was a lot of work and it was a lot of money. And now I am trying to figure it out all over again. I think that if you're thinking about doing this program, that you should talk to a doctor or nutritionist and show them what this program is all about, and then with their guidance decide if this is something that you should do for yourself. I used to watch The Biggest Loser and see all these people lose all this weight, and then they would come back for an update and people gained it back, and I'm like, how is that even possible? You did all that hard work. Well, that happened to me, and basically I think that I was so tired of eating those fuelings and not just being able to really eat real food that once I was done the program, and you know, for the most part, the thing that made me stop was the money. It was just, I couldn't continue to spend that amount of money on a program every single month with a family of 6 and all the other things that we have to deal with and do and pay for. Yeah, I think that if you are on this program, try to think about your exit strategy before you quit, so that if you did lose weight, you can find a way to, you're going to gain some of the weight back just because you have to start eating more calories, I think, in order to be healthy. But I didn't do a good job of like figuring out what to eat. I kind of like quit the exercise altogether because that was so tiring and I was doing so much of it. But like to just keep like some activity going, maybe try to find a way to just like gently go to eating other things that are healthy for you. I kind of like just binged out. And it probably didn't help that, we did like a beach trip and like we went to Disney World for 2 weeks. And, there were all kinds of things happening where I'm just like celebrating and food is there. And I'm like, hey, I'm not on this program, so I can eat it now. And everything just piled up. And like I would weigh myself and see that I was getting bigger, but I just hadn't thought about what to do when I was off this program. I appreciate you watching this video because these vlogs are made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.